Good to see you.
Anything I can do for you?
Victim of the recent attack, please remain
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
really isn't the time.
There's that empty feeling again. Whenever someone...
Morale in the lodge has been measurably reduced.
If I may, I know our encounter with the Hunter is the last thing anyone wants to talk about right now, but he said something that I can't get out of my mind. Unity. Do you remember that? Exactly. Somehow. The thing is, I've heard that word before. It's an important concept in Keeper Aquilas's speeches.
The priest? Is the Sanctum Universum going to bless our little crusade of discovery?
It can't be a coincidence. The Sanctum has always believed that answers are out there in the stars. Look, I know it's the longest of shots and the biggest leap of faith I could ever ask us all to take, but why not talk to him?
I don't mind taking a detour to gather data. Only thing we'd lose is time, really.
Thank you. I know it's not much to go on, but something about this feels right. I'll meet you over there.
Thank you for helping me out with the artifacts.
I've been lost in thought.
The lodge feels A little colder than it used to. Everyone seems more distant in the lodge. I guess that is to be expected.
I will be monitoring everyone's vitals for signs of continued trouble.
Here, this is for you. I had almost forgotten I picked it up for you. Anyway, I figured you might have a use for it. It's not a problem. If I see anything on our next expedition to a planet, then I'll hang on to it for you. I've been meaning to thank you for helping me with the Crimson Fleet before. I could have handled it myself, of course, but it's good working with a team. It's good to be part of a team, isn't it? To be part of something so much bigger than any one of us. So many things can go wrong out there. Working with people you can trust is important. That's why I've been in Constellation so long. It's good to have people who will help out when you're in a jam. Just wait till we get matching shirts and start having official cookie days. They're one of humanity's greatest achievements. Modern medicine, space travel, and cookies. Constellation is quite pro-cookie. Because, you see, we value human accomplishments. Speaking of which, your work with Constellation has been impressive. Truly impressive. Just figured I'd mention it, since we haven't had much time to chat before. You know, being a member of Constellation has given me a lot of opportunities, and a fair bit of stress, I'll admit. It's hard to imagine just who I'd be had I never joined up. I would have never done so many things, met so many people. It's mind-boggling how different I would be. And I never would have met Irvin. Or lost him, I suppose. That's right. We can't know the consequences of the choices we never made, and anything beyond that is imagination alone. But for the choices we made, it feels just a bit closer, doesn't it? Irvin's been gone for over 20 years. Strange how memories can pop up when you least expect it. Yeah, don't worry. Logically, I know I should be over it. But I'm not, and it's gotten worse lately. I've ignored my feelings about Irvin's death since it happened. It's time for me to confront it. I'm just fortunate that Constellation has been a supporting home for me since Irvin died. I mean, where else would I get to dodge space pirates and discover new planets? On that note, I think I'd do well to distract myself with a little adventure for a bit. You're handling this whole captain thing really well, you know. Oh, I see what's going on here. It's hard to compete with me by your side. We'll split up and compare notes later. Last one to space is a rotten prasada berry.
Exactly. It's like...
When someone insults you, you want to just beat the shit out of them sometimes, but you don't.
Well, not quite what I was thinking, but that's actually a great example, Marcus. The man in the story was cruel. Do you know why he was cruel? You must feel what he feels. Understand his pain. Accept it. And deliver it not back upon him.
Empathy. You mean empathy? But you say it like it's easy. Like anyone can just love a terrible person who has been terrible to them.
Yeah, why even bother? I mean, isn't the cycle of humanity peace and war back and forth, like forever? Seems kind of pointless to try so hard for something that won't last. Nothing ever really changes.
It's not easy, no, but necessary. Because you see, everything has changed. God has given us the intelligence, the ingenuity to reach into the stars, to travel his path, to truly find him. But we can't do it alone. The only way is through unity. Huh. Yes, Andreas. Yes. Unity. Well, I'm sure you all have other things to do. Thank you for taking the time to stop and talk with me.
I keep coming back here. I really like what Aquilus has to say.
Are you a member? Keeper Aquilus seems to know what he's talking about. I had this graph jump once, and I don't know, I felt something. Thought I was crazy at first.
Keeper Aquilus, can we have a moment?
Oh, Matteo. It's been too long. How are your parents? Your mother still struggling with that azalea garden?
No, she figured that out a while ago. Had to adjust the pH levels in the soil. But, Keeper, I didn't come to catch up.
Oh. Well, what's on both your minds? Oh. Yeah. How humanity comes together. How we are to love each other even as our universe becomes even more complex.
That's not exactly what we mean. Keeper, when you talk about unity, well, does it mean anything else? Something secret?
Perhaps you should talk about this inside.
Have you ever heard one of his sermons? They're really good.
Now that we have a little privacy, why don't you tell me exactly what it is that brought you two here?
They're like nothing we've ever seen, Keeper. Gravitational distortion, sub-audio harmonic sequencing, unidentifiable energy fluctuations.
I caught half of that. So, these things are unusual? Even in your experience? There have always been mysteries that seem to defy our understanding of the universe. Beyond rational thought. We enter life as an act of someone else's faith in us. There's no way of knowing who we will become, and yet the risk is made anyway. So you've pushed into the unknown, not knowing where it would take you. And it's brought you here. I think I can, if you're willing to find your way in the dark for a bit longer. I can give you a path to discovering its meaning. There's an old story, far older than the Sanctum Universum, of someone who walked the settled systems and saw every corner of it. This pilgrim claimed he found the true meaning of unity. I always thought of it as just a parable for trying to bring humanity together, but maybe it's more. In my story, the pilgrim met the founders of the House of Enlightenment and the enigmatic cult of the Varun, and he gave them each a part of the truth. Then he goes to his final resting place to live out the rest of his days in contemplation of infinitum addendum, his addition or contribution to the infinite. But what if the story isn't a metaphor, but a code? A way of finding the pilgrim again, or at least his grave. Yes, something must be there. I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe the answer will become clear when we have more. The House of Enlightenment and Varun have versions of this story. The Enlightened work out of the well here in New Atlantis, helping the poorest citizens find a better life for themselves. Varun worshippers are more enigmatic, but there is a lone zealot that was captured recently for attacking UC ships. I visited her a couple of times. Hopefully, she'll be willing to talk to you as well.
I'll stay here with the Keeper. We need to catch up. And I wouldn't mind asking him a few more questions.
I feel underdressed.
Wow, you look completely different. Keep your nose clean. Last thing I want is to charge you for it.
I'm meeting my girlfriend for drinks at the Viewport tonight.
As a tracker agent, my duty is to inform and
House of Enlightenment. If it's about the financial or food assistance programs, we are backlogged. Don't worry, we're doing everything we can. Oh, you're not? Sorry. Can I help you? Listen, I've talked about this with him a ton of times, and there's no record of a Unity pilgrim. But since you both insist, our early records are mostly administrative. Humanitarian projects, group counseling notes, charity expenditures. But there is a series of exchanges the founding members recorded in a lot of detail. It's the closest thing I have to what Aquilas is describing. A man walks into the first House of Enlightenment. The founding members just call him the Drifter. So they think he's a charity case at first, but no, the Drifter asks them a bunch of questions. If your philosophy is built on an individual's own morality, what about the second person? That second person might disagree. Isn't the problem of two what you're really looking for? And the founders respond, each individual must understand how the second person lifts them up. All of human effort is a story of cooperation pushing us forward. And it kind of goes on like that. He comes back every week for a year. Same conversation every time. Second person this, the problem of do that. Honestly, I think the founding members made it all up. There was a little more hesitation being openly atheist in the early days. I think they were experimenting with writing their own scripture. Fortunately, that got abandoned pretty quick. After the records of the Drifter end, you never see anything like it again. Besides what the Keeper would say about it, sounds like a gathering point, or a center. Or in mathematics it would mean one, like the one, the first or the beginning. Always happy to help. If you'll excuse me, I've got a lot of aid efforts to coordinate.